You have turned into smooth Matt Emroy, smooth jazz all night, all day. And now here's Casey with the weather. Da 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 da. Hey, good evening, everybody. Matt Emroy back with you once again. Bet everybody's wondering what the heck I've been up to. Where have I been? What's been going on? Well, not that much, to be honest with you. At least not that much that you guys out there in YouTube land would be interested in. Been doing a lot of work, refurbishing computers, been doing some freelance IT work, just trying to make ends meet. This current situation has had a lot of us on edge, edge. Um, and just trying to make a living, hoping that we're going to get that second stimulus check. I'm not holding my breath, though. It's being held up in Congress, mainly because Congress is not in session right now. But if you look in the corner over there, right there, you can say, what is that? Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 5 desktops refurbished, and I got 2 more downstairs, and I have 1 more older HP over here that I picked up the other day. So yeah, I've been working really hard, very, very tired. And I just want to make sure I did another live stream because it's been, let's see, when in the world was the last day I did a video? Any video. I think the last upload I did was actually a vlog. It wasn't even a live stream. Yeah, 5 days ago. Wow. I can't believe it was that long ago. So, couple of updates. Now that this situation has gone into its second month, people are needing to get haircuts, like really, really bad. I got my hair cut by my father last month. Thank you, Dad, because without him, my hair would be literally down over my eyes right now. Yeah, my hair grows that quick. But I'm looking on Facebook now that parents are having to give their children their haircuts, probably their first ever parent haircuts for the first time. In other words, the parents giving the kids haircuts. And what always helps, I mean, this never fails, is so you have your clippers, right? And you choose like the number 2 or the number 3. I usually go with the number 2, and then you just kind of the whole thing. But then when that's over with, you have the hairline that needs to be addressed. So what people do, get yourself like a bowl. It can be a metal bowl. It could be a plastic bowl, and you put it on the head, and you use that as kind of a guideline to kind of get the line straight here. So you put it like up here to make sure you get a straight line here, and then you put it over down there, and you try to get as straight as you can around the skull. I don't know how well that works. I've never used that technique, but I've heard a lot of people have with marginal success, let's say. See, Chris Garrett, I386, George Blakely, WW Souls is here, Yanks One Fan. Wow, we got a lot of people here. Everybody's saying hi. Eric's Friday channel, perfect time with the 8-bit keys video I was just watching. Yeah, I saw it the other day too, the one with the Casio keyboard. 86, man, hope you're doing well. I'm doing all right. I had to take a nap today. At least I tried to take a nap. How many of you out there this drives me nuts, attempt to take a nap, right? I say attempt because I had Mom on the phone right in the other room scream at the top of her voice. I love her, but that's the way she talks. She just talks very, very loudly. It sounds like she's screaming, but she's not. She's just talking. Not only that, I'm laying in bed and somebody's trying to get a hold of me on Facebook. I keep getting message after message after message, and I'm laying in bed. I'm like, I don't want to answer it. I'm just too tired. And then all of a sudden I hear the Facebook video chat come to life. You know, that and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I laid down for about an hour and I maybe got 5 minutes of sleep. So I'm shocked to have this much energy, but we're going to move on. Erico's naps are generally unplanned. Yeah, with me, sometimes it's just a crash. I went on a bike ride / walk with Mom today, and for a woman in her, let's just say she's up there in her years, she really does very well. She can keep up with me, and I'm 36, going to be 37. Yes, How many of you know when my birthday is? I bet some of you can figure it out. That is a very good point, Rick. And that's exactly why I don't like to take naps either. I tend to not sleep well at night either. And if I take a nap during the day, then it makes that problem even worse at night. Though I'll have to say the last few nights I've been tiring myself out to the point where I lay in bed and I think maybe 5 minutes later I'm out, which is very rare because it usually takes about an hour or two to go to sleep once I lay down. Interesting. Harold K says cuts his own hair and uses a hat or a headphone strap to get to the back of the neck. I've done it before. I just don't like doing it. If you have someone else, it's just a lot easier than having to do it yourself, and takes about half the time. Okay, so I have some news. It's nothing huge. You've seen this happen with me before, but with people having to work at home during this situation, I've been selling a lot of computers, refurbished computers. That being said, that last pallet I bought in March, I only have about 8 of those computers left. So I've purchased another pallet from the same company. This time it's 47 Dell Optiplexes. It's always Dell Optiplexes. That's like all they ever get in. And I will be picking that up this Tuesday. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to film this, but I'm going to have to do a front differential service on my Yukon. I've been talking about that for a while now. Now that I think about it, I honestly don't think I'm going to be able to film it because to do that, I would have to be able to get it up on the lift we have in the garage. And I can't do that for 2 reasons. One, the cars are everywhere in the garage now, and it would take a long time to get them out. And number 2, I do not believe that my Yukon would actually fit because it is a really long wheelbase. Not only that, it's very, very long. It's wide and it's long, and I don't actually think we'll be able to get that up on the lift. So for those of you that we're looking forward to seeing me do that on YouTube, it's just not going to happen because I can't get the camera under there to be able to film it. I wish I could because it would be really interesting. But it's the front all-wheel drive differential, and it needs a fluid change, basically. And hopefully I won't have any issues. I mean, I don't really have a lot of issues with it now, but every once in a while you can kind of feel it binding, especially when it gets hot after a long drive. And all the research I've done tells me that it probably needs to have that fluid changed out. Danny Lee, long time no see. I36, people here that have been out of work are not wanting to go back. They are saying they make more on unemployment and stimulus. That's why I think people will start expecting a handout. That is the double-edged sword of the stimulus packages, and there is always a gamble. However, I don't think people are going to be able to rely solely on extended unemployment and the stimulus package because, number one, the second round of stimulus is nowhere near guaranteed. Congress is just talking about it. There's a bill out there, but Congress hasn't even gotten into session. And number two, the extended unemployment is not going to be forever either. At most, from what I'm hearing now, it may be for another 6 to 8 months. But once things get back to normal, they're going to have no choice. They're going to have to go back to work. And we don't know what's going to happen right now. Georgia has reopened. There are some, I think Colorado, Denver area is starting to reopen. There are certain states that are reopening, but places like Virginia, we still have another month or so before we're going to open up our non-essential businesses. So I think they're going to have to do something. I definitely see a second stimulus of some type coming out, but as to what that's going to be, I don't know. We're just going to have to see what happens. The government wants you to be reliant on them. Yeah, and that's what socialism is. If you look at countries like England, to a smaller extent Canada, but That's what it is. The government wants to control every aspect. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. A government that wants to control every aspect of your life is technically a communism. It's a communist government. A socialist government more or less wants to control every aspect of business. But even that's not really true anymore, because you don't even see true socialism. Because in Canada, and I believe in England too now, private sectors can own businesses, as is where, at least it was in Canada in the past, the majority of the businesses were government owned, but now that's not the case anymore. So you really can't find a true communist or socialist society out there anymore. And believe me, that's a good thing. I appreciate the offer, Eric, but I just don't see it being possible. I have to pick these up Tuesday, and I think Dan and I are gonna do it together. Whatever the best day is, either Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. I'm not gonna make a promise. I'm not gonna make a commitment. If by some miracle I think I'm able to get a camera under there and film it, I will. But there's no promises here. I can't make that promise, because I've been called out in the past for making promises that I haven't kept, and I'm not going to do that anymore. It's not fair to me, and it's not fair to you guys out there. I-36, Virginia is closer to New York. People may come through and may be carrying it. That is pretty much any state with I-95 runs through it. Yeah, and the issue in Virginia is it's not so much Southern Virginia, it's Northern Virginia. And it's the same thing with New York. In New York State, it's the city, which is in the South, versus the northern, more rural areas. But what's happening, at least in Virginia, is the Northern Virginia is ruining it for the southern part, because they don't want to just open up one area. If the whole state needs to be in the lockdown longer, then they're going to keep the whole state in the lockdown longer. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is. You know, I feel blessed in many, many ways when I think about it. Me personally, I'm in better shape than a lot, because my business, my livelihood hasn't been as affected as many out there. But that being said, there's going to come a time where people can't even afford to buy computers, unfortunately. And that's why I say I think the government is going to have no choice but to put out a second round of stimulus. Do I think it's going to be $2,000 a month, or for the first month, and then $1,000 a month, or $1,200 a month for the next 6 to 8 months? I don't think so. Everything that I've reviewed news-wise says that it's going to be some watered-down version of that. I mean, heck, the bill as it stands right now is even going to make these payments available to undocumented immigrants and people here on work visas. So go figure that one, folks. I mean, that's not. I don't find that personally fair. Maybe some of you out there do. Especially with the undocumented immigrants. I can see the people on work visas, because they're here, they can't travel back home, and they're in the same boat as we are. So yes, I could definitely see maybe giving them a stimulus package. But an undocumented immigrant, in other words, a person that's here in the country illegally, no, they don't. In my opinion, they don't deserve to get free money. The government can't afford it, and that's why they've come up with these ridiculous plans on paying for it. One was ludicrous, and who knows if they might find a way to pull it off, and that was to get one of the mints to mint two $1 trillion coins out of some precious metal, and back the next round of stimulus up with that. Basically, in and of effect, putting the next round of stimuluses payments back on the gold standard, which I don't see how this is going to work. Maybe if they can figure out a way to make it work, more power to them. But the only way I could see it working is to put our country more and more and more in debt. But that being said, and I've said this in other live streams in previously, I don't know if we're going to have a choice, because it's getting to the point where people just can't afford to live. And when you can't afford to live, That's really scary. I mean, think of people that are homeless now because of this, people that can't afford to pay their rent, people that can't afford to eat. I will tell you this right now, and this is something you could take to the bank. If you have a roof over your head, if you have food in your stomach, and you have family around you, you are the richest person in the world right now. And really, that I'm not going to say right now, I'm not going to put that caveat there. That's anytime. So think about it that way. I don't care what other circumstances are. I don't care what else you might be going through. If you have those three things, you have the world. And we just lost the chat window. Of course we did. Well, well, well. Let's see if I can find some unanswered questions, maybe from a previous vlog or video or what have you. So we got 16 watchers and 7 likes and no chat window. Incidentally, please don't forget to click that like button. I don't want any super chats. Please save your money, but the way you can help me out, if you're enjoying these live streams, give me a like. Take a minute and click that like button. Salamander Man asked, did you ever figure out a way to update the BIOS? And he's talking about the Dell Optiplex 3020 is junk rant that I did. Not for my version. The only way you can update the BIOS on the Dell Optiplex 3020 that's stuck on the first revision, which I believe was A02, and that is a US release only. This does not count for like European releases or other countries. The only way to do it is to physically remove the BIOS chip and reprogram it using a BIOS chip reprogrammer like you would get on eBay. And basically the way those work is you take the chip out, put it in the EEPROM programmer, plug it into the USB port on another computer, and flash the BIOS that way. That's the only way you can do it on one of those Dell Optiplex 3020s. And yes, I may have been a little out of line saying that it's junk. That was more of a clickbait title than anything. I do not think the Dell Optiplex 3020 is total junk. As a matter of fact, it can be a very reliable computer. But that being said, those ones here in the US that are stuck on that first BIOS revision, it's a pain because they have a glitch where you cannot do a soft reboot. The only way to reboot the computer is to turn it off and turn it back on. Now, a lot of you out there might say, well, that's not bad. I mean, when do you ever have to restart the computer? Well, think about it. Early on, especially early on in Windows 10, the only way you could get Windows 10 updates to install is to do a soft restart. Now Windows 10 allows you to physically turn the computer off, go to the start menu, shut down, and reboot it, and the updates will install. But early on, I think the first 4 or 5 builds of Windows 10, you could not install updates unless you did a soft reboot. Chat's back up. Yep, just came back up. I don't know what's going on with that. I think too many people are live streaming right now, and that's an issue because, let's face it, there's nothing else to do. Not only live streaming, but people are watching YouTube a lot right now. I know me personally, when I'm not out exercising, I'm at home, I'm watching YouTube. That's why I've tried to watch more content off of YouTube, but it doesn't matter really. Whatever you're streaming, it's still going to affect the internet. People are just saturating the internet now with streaming. Even the email servers are slow. Yeah. That's very interesting, Harold K. I'm not going to read it out loud because I don't pretend to understand every aspect of socialism, fascism, what have you. But I will say that how can I put this? Socialism is the abolishment or getting rid of the free market. That's what it is. Socialism basically means you go to the government for everything. The government gives you your housing, your shelter, for the most part. That's actually communism. Socialism is somewhere in between that. Again, socialism usually controls your job. You get your salary from the government. You get your health care from the government. But either one, they want to get rid of capitalism, which is what we have in the United States, which I absolutely believe is the best system out there, because it can a nobody, a person with nothing, can go from nothing to the world. They can have everything their hearts desire. Whereas in a socialist or a communist society, pretty much everybody is on the same tier. And guess what, folks? That's a low tier. The only people who have money in those societies are the government, the people that are high up in the government. Everybody else has to do with the leftovers, the scabs, the scraps, if you will. It would be using upload speeds, I believe, any live stream, because I'm uploading the content. It's not a download, so you'd actually be using your upload speeds, which is actually good because that's separate from the download. Basically, you have a certain amount of bandwidth for uploads and a certain amount of bandwidth for downloads. So technically, me live streaming shouldn't really make that much of a difference, because at any one given time in any area, I can almost guarantee you that maybe there's a 80-20 split, where 80% of the bandwidth is being used for downloads versus 20% being used for uploads. And uploads are anything that you are going from your computer out to the internet. So again, live streams, emails, if you're uploading a picture of your Easter dinner to Facebook, all that would be considered an upload. All right, folks, come on. I need some more thumbs up. I really want to see them. Help me out there. If you don't like the video, that's fine. But if you do, please take a minute and give me those thumbs up. 10 megabits per second is sufficient for an upload speed for a live stream. You can get, the rule of thumb is 10 megabits per second down or up is good enough for 1080p full HD streaming. If you go to 4K, then I think you need something like 20, maybe 25 megabits per second. That was a good rule of thumb when I looked all this up a year or two ago. Things may have changed now, but that was good rule of thumb as of a couple of years ago. Well, that's good. No thumbs down. It's funny because you seem to like it when I don't upload content that regularly. If I do like a vlog and a live stream, and I don't skip a day or two or three, I think you guys all get saturated with content. So I think from now on, I'm going to try to scatter it out a little bit more, and that's not necessarily going to be intentional. A lot of it is also going to do with the fact that I'm going to be very, very busy these next few days, getting the computers, basically refurbishing them. I don't think I'm actually going to film getting them, because I've done that before. It's the same place. It's not all that exciting. I can't really go into the back and film where this is, but I will tell you a really cool anecdote about this and why I actually like to buy my computers from this place. This is actually a non-profit, and all the money I spend here, and believe me, it can be considerable, it has been considerable, goes to help schools. So the way it works is they donate all this computer equipment. Businesses, schools donate the computer equipment to them. Once it gets old, they get the new stuff and they donate it there. They pallet it up and they sell it online. Somebody like me comes and buys it, and that money that I send to them, a good majority of it, or if not all of it, I'm not 100% sure here, goes to the school. So it's actually the circle of life there, starting at the schools or the businesses, going to them, and then the money gets back to the schools. So that's really a good thing. I mean, I try to buy from charitable organizations as much as possible. In the past, it's been very easy. Honestly, most of my big hauls have come from a charity of one type or another, whether it's a e-recycling place like this, or a thrift store that supports some charity. Let's see. Yeah, it's been about 30 minutes. I think I can treat myself to a little sip of water. I think it is time for, drumroll, a fitness update. I don't know how many of you follow me on Instagram or on Facebook, but I have been uploading weight updates, every couple of days. And I have officially hit my mark. I had said previously that by my birthday, I wanted to be around 200 pounds. That was my ultimate goal, was to stay right at around 200 pounds. And as of about 4 days ago, I would say 4 or 5 days ago, my morning weight is 199.8 pounds, 199 pounds and 8 ounces. So I've made it, folks. I'm there. And the real tricky part now is going to be trying to maintain this weight. And, I may falter a little bit. My birthday's coming up very, very soon. And I know, I've heard through the grapevine that I'm going to be getting a carrot cake that's made by a friend of my mother's that she used to work with. And I've had these before. They're unbelievable. So I'm gonna have to kind of pace myself. And this is what's really cool about the lifestyle change that Mom and I have chose to go down. There are times that I can overeat, that I can binge eat, that I can eat a lot of junk food, and I will put weight back on. It could be 2, 3, 4, 5 pounds. But the great thing is I now have the ability to keep that, or take that weight back off and keep it off, because I know how to eat. And that's what I've been trying to instill in everybody out there. That's what I've been trying to get out to everybody out there, is diets don't work. They don't. I've tried them all, folks. I've tried Richard Simmons' Deal Meal. I've tried the Atkins diet. I've tried keto-like diets, though before, when I did them, the keto wasn't out there, but low-carb diets. They don't work because long-term, you can't continue to do that. So when I started this back in 2017, I knew the only way that this would be successful would be for me to think of it as a lifestyle change. Think about fundamentally change the way I was thinking about food. And ever since then, I've been able to not only lose weight, but keep it off. You remember, folks, those of you that haven't been following me for that long, there was a time 5, 6 years ago when I weighed 400 pounds. 400 pounds. Actually, I was a little bit over 400. I was actually more like 415, 414, somewhere around there. And now I'm weighing in at 199. So I have, in and of effect, lost more than half of my body weight. And those of you out there will have people that tell you, no, it can't be done. You can't lose that kind of weight and keep it off. I'm living proof that you can. And if you go back to my previous live streams, if you go back to my videos, I show you how to do it. And you have to fundamentally change the way you think about food. You have to fundamentally change the way you eat. Every morning, I start my morning with a hearty bowl of oatmeal. And I'm talking about a big bowl of oatmeal. I have a big, humongous Mikasa bowl, probably 2 or 3 times the size of a normal bowl. And I use 2 packets of the instant organic oatmeal. Sometimes it's steel cut, sometimes it's the regular, but I fill that up. I mean, that bowl is 3/4 of the way full. I fill it up with blackberries, blueberries, mangoes, any kind of fruit that I can think of. Usually those 3, because those are what they call superfoods. In other words, they really will jumpstart your metabolism for the rest of the day. And I usually sweeten it with maple syrup, real maple syrup, not the fake stuff, and or honey. And that's how I start off my mornings. Now, do I treat myself afterwards? Yes. As a matter of fact, I eat my breakfast, and when I get to 5,000 steps, I usually have something sweet, like Reese's. Matter of fact, I'll show you guys right now that I'm eating 2 of these a day. These little Reese's eggs that I got. Oh, here we go. These 2 Reese's eggs that I picked up from Walmart after Easter. So I'll eat those as a treat, and then I'll have a decent lunch and a decent dinner, but low calorie stuff. And that's the thing. Now, ever since I gave up beef, that was a big help as well. Red meat will stifle any diet because it stays in your system for a good long time. I'm trying to understand that comment. I'm not sure I understand what Eric's saying. It's unreal if you look at the video where you got the computer you're using now to now. He's talking about the Dell Optiplex, or the Dell, what is it, XPS 8700. Yeah, it's been a big transformation. So if anybody out there really wants to know how to do this, check out my previous videos. It's all in there. I have thought about being a fitness trainer and maybe even a motivational coach, or a lifestyle coach, as they call it. It's definitely something I would like to look into when all this craziness is over. All right, folks, that is going to be it for the live stream today. We did a 30-minute one. I'm going to try to do another one sometime this week, and hope I got to everybody. Thank you so much for coming. Please continue to like and subscribe. And as always, have a blessed day, everybody.